Yo guys, welcome back to SempreInter TV. Bit of a different setting again today. I'm here in sunny Harrogate, little town just north of Leeds in the UK, here with a cold non-alcoholic beverage on this sunny day. Here to preview, of course, one of the biggest matches of the season already, which is of course the Derby della Madonnina, Derby di Milano. And in slightly different settings, I have my friend Bilal Mirza joining us from the US. What's up, Bilal?
Hello. How's it going, guys? Happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Great stuff, Bilal. Let's get straight into it. As you know, Bilal, our last match was quite a difficult match. Inter struggled to break down Slavia Praha, and in the end, the 1-1 result was not good enough. Antonio Conte wasn't happy, a lot of the players weren't happy, and there's been reports in the newspapers that Antonio Conte even slept at the training grounds, trying to go back to see what went wrong and how everything can be fixed. What are your thoughts going into this derby? Does that performance against Slavia concern you?
Yeah, so the Slavia Prague tie does not bother me at all, actually, going into this match. A couple of things we should keep in mind about that match. Slavia Prague was in a fantastic run of form in their domestic league going into the match. In fact, their last loss dated back to April 21st in domestic competition. And even in Europa League last year, they had a pretty deep run, only losing out to Chelsea, the eventual winners, in the knockout stages. So they were no pushovers. They were not supposed to be taken lightly. And for the large part, we did create chances, right? You remember earlier on the first half, Lautaro Martinez had great chances, opportunities. De Vrij as well misses the opportunity. Lukaku as well, towards the end, actually had an opportunity to actually seal the win and bring home the 3 points for us. So we created a ton of chances. It was not because of lack of chances that we did not win. So not concerned at all. Despite the drop points, Inter is certainly, you can see, molding into an Antonio Conte side. They have an identity. They have a style of play. That's the way they want to attack. Every player knows its role, their identity within the team and how they fit in. And so I expect nothing different than the rest of the games we've seen. A methodical approach. Definitely no more pazza Inter. A lot more structured and calm in the possession and an attack and approach. So I expect that to continue and I'm not concerned at all.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there, Bilal. The concerning thing for me is usually if a team concedes a lot or concedes a lot of chances and doesn't create enough goal-scoring chances or doesn't score at all. And Inter this season definitely haven't been doing either of those things. And one of the other rumours that's been swirling around in the media, of course, I think especially that is to destabilise Inter, even as Antonio Conte says, they're waiting for us to, make a false step and then they will jump on us straight away. And that was the rumours regarding the dressing room bust-up between Brozovic and Lukaku.
As for the bizarre news that came out this morning that apparently Lukaku and Brozovic were having at each other this morning, I'm not concerned about that. I certainly feel that the media is blowing it out of proportion. It's always the media and the world against Inter. We all know that as Inter fans, that seems to happen more often than we prefer. And so the way I look at it is that Antonio Conte has instilled a winning mentality on this team. Everybody's fighting for a win. A drop point is a drop point, and it's not okay. And that championship mentality is what we've been lacking, where you can see in the past year, despite having a solid squad, doing really well against top competition, but struggling against the lesser sides. And so that inherently means that the winner's mentality comes out in competitive ways, and this is probably a byproduct of that. I'm not concerned about this. I expect nothing more. In fact, I would actually go as far as to say that if this was not the case, I would be concerned, because that would highlight a lack of fighting spirit or hunger to win, and that would concern me a bit more. But in this situation, I think this is healthy, and media were blowing it out of proportion. We'll be totally fine.
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, so much overreaction that I've seen, especially from Inter fans, which I didn't expect on social media. I would expect people to, know that arguments and bust-ups in dressing rooms are a very normal thing. And I think a healthy dressing room should have quite a few arguments throughout the season, because it shows that, they have the passion and desire to win. So leaving aside these newspaper talks and rumours, let's talk about the actual match. Which players do you think are going to make a big impact into the match?
Yeah, so for me, Sensei and Lautaro Martinez are certainly the list of Inter players to watch for this game. Lautaro's had a great derby last season. He did well. He scored some clutch goals when Icardi was having a melodrama. So I expect him to step up to the occasion. Lukaku, on the other hand, we know his track record of not showing up in big games, so this will certainly be a test of character for him. Was it that just a United thing, or was it really something there that needs to be seen? So I hope that he has a solid showing as well. But for me, the key players would be Sensei and Lautaro. Sensei, the little dude can do it all. The level of confidence he's showing so far earlier in the season is phenomenal. For Milan, on the other hand, it will depend if Gianpaolo starts Benasser. I think he's a game changer for them. He hasn't started a game for them in the regular season, but whenever he's come on, he's really made an impact. And it hasn't shown on the scoring line yet, but it's still earlier in the season. They're still figuring it out. Piontek as well. You cannot ignore that guy. I know he hasn't had the flashy of starts to the season, but he's a lethal goal scorer and needs to be kept an eye on. Suso also for Milan is going to be an important player. He always seems to show up against Inter. Last time around we managed to keep him quiet, but before that he did some damage for Milan against us, so we need to keep him under wraps. Calabria got a red card against Hellas Verona for Milan, so whoever steps in for him will also be somebody to keep an eye on.
I think you picked some safe bets there. Of course, Lautaro last year was the standout performer in the derby, but I'm going to pick Diego Godin to be my standout player. I think he showed in his first match against Udinese how important he is to this team and how of a great player he still is at his age. And I think he's going to return to the starting 11, and I think he's going to put in a masterclass alongside, of course, Skriniar and De Vrij, who will nullify Piontek once again. In the Milan team, as you said, Benasser, I think he's an absolutely great signing, especially for the money they paid for him. Very neat and tidy player. But for me, the player I'm going to look out for in that match is Ante Rebic, who was very close to joining Inter according to reports, or very heavily linked with Inter over the summer. As a lot of you might know, I'm not his biggest fan, but the type of player he is a guy that loves these type of big matches, especially with him being linked with Inter before. He's gonna have a point to prove, and he's one of those guys who will run for the whole 90 minutes, put in some strong tackles, and he might even be sent off, so he's one of those players who plays on the edge. So let's get straight into the match predictions now. Give me your match prediction, Bilal. I know it's difficult.
So in a derby, we know that recent form holds no weight. We have a recent example of last season, second derby, leading up to the match. AC Milan had a good string of form. Gattuso had them going again. They were on their way to being third in the league table at that time, but we ended up coming out the winners as 3-1 and went ahead of them in the league table. So recent form means nothing, so I don't put too much weight on the fact that Milan has had a tough going off leg to start the season under Gianpaolo. He has not had a full stand squad yet really available to him, so it has been a bit tricky, but I expect a 2-1 win for Inter. Business as usual, sticking to our guns. The goal scorers, in my opinion, Piontek for Milan, and Sensei and Lautaro Martinez, my key player for the game, will get the score as well. 2-1 win for Inter.
Okay, yeah, you sound pretty positive, whereas I'm not as positive as you. I think it's going to be a draw. Yes, Milan have been in really bad form. I think the focus will be trying not to concede goals, especially not conceding 3 goals like they did last time. So I think it will be a much more tight affair. I'm predicting a 1-1 draw with one of our defenders scoring from a set piece, maybe someone like Godin or De Vrij, and another set piece on their side. I think it's going to be a tight match, but that probably means it's going to be an absolutely crazy end-to-end match, so let's see. In terms of predicted lineups, I'm interested to see what approach Conte goes for. I think he might try to switch around back to the 3-4-2-1. And Capolitano is a very strong contender to start, and with Lukaku still struggling with that back problem, which clearly still hampered him in the last 2 matches. I wouldn't be surprised to see Politano start up front with Sanchez and Lautaro. Conte's thinking of moving Sensi up front as well, so just in behind the strikers. So that will be really interesting to see, giving Sensi a free role where he's allowed to move about and create chances. That'll be very interesting to see, and of course it'll be very difficult to pick up for the Milan defenders. The reports with Calabria out suspended, the reports are saying that Borini is going to play right back. That man has played every single position for Milan except from centre back and goalkeeper. I think he is literally the definition of utility man, a jack of all trades but specialist in none. And yeah, I think Asamoah out on the left is going to eat him for dinner. Well, that's it for today, guys. Thanks for joining me and Bilal. Thanks, Bilal, for coming on.
Thanks again, Rahul, for having me on. It was a lot of fun. Looking forward to the derby. Forza Inter.
Comment below, what is your score prediction? Are you as positive as Bilal, or are you slightly pragmatic like I am? Let me know in the comments below. As always, please leave a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe. And as always, Forza Inter. Ciao.